apparently all our nurseries are racist. I mean, not only are we all born racist, well, only white people, of course, they're the only people who apparently can be racist, but also all the largely women working in our nurseries are also racist. This is why at least 4 Labour-run major public sector authorities have worked with a firm running Zoom diversity training sessions to explore the concept of race and culture with children under the age of 5. This is the Black Nursery Manager. They're diversity consultants who want to decolonise the mindsets of nursery staff who are inculcating racism in our children. No, this is not April the 1st. Let's talk to writer and broadcaster Charlie Peters about this. Good morning to Charlie.
Morning, Julia.
It's another one of those world's gone mad moments, but we don't make these stories up. These things are actually happening. They're being paid for by our taxes, crucially, as well. But this idea that children under the age of 5 at nursery need to have lessons from nursery staff who need to have lessons themselves about how not to be racist.
Yes, no, and is there anything more revolting than the idea that the minds of children need to be decolonised? And that's exactly what this Black nursery manager suggests. It says that, you know, she thinks that they've been born with the original sin of whiteness, and that by being born as they are already evil, and that they are guilty of race crimes and racialized thinking before they've even had a chance to produce their own perspectives and experiences on the world.
Well, it is. I mean, these are quite extraordinary. The firm's run by Liz Pemberton, a former nursery manager herself. She's called the government agents of white supremacy. She says white supremacy is woven into the fabric of how society is built. We live in a racist society. And she talks about how early the violence of whiteness starts. I mean, quite extraordinary. I mean, my daughter, obviously white, she attended a nursery which was incredibly ethnically diverse. And whenever I asked her to describe something, she said, oh, one of the ladies said something. And I said, oh, which lady? And I don't think that, if I asked her to describe a child or any of the ladies who looked after her, I don't think the colour of their skin would come up in the first 10 things that she would describe, not because she was being anxious and politically correct, because it was just totally irrelevant. It wasn't something that was interesting or relevant at all. It'd be like, oh, you know, the lady always wears the bright red dresses or something like that. That was how children talk. I don't believe for a moment there is a single child in the world that is born racist.
No, absolutely not. And I think this is part of a broader issue we have, where adults very often force their own problems onto children, especially at school, but even more unnervingly now at nursery and preschool years, when adults are seeking to exercise their own fears about the world and their own struggles by telling children about the evil and the violence of whiteness, which in itself is, of course, a deeply racist view.
And this is it. All of these views, when in any way, if you just talk about people as a race as opposed to individuals, and the idea that people who are born with a certain skin colour have certain views or certain characteristics, that is in itself racist.
And we would never, ever permit, I imagine, taxpayers' funding to go towards a diversity trainer who spoke about the early violence of blackness. And that would be completely beyond the pale. But for some reason, when anti-white racism is bandied around, then, as you said, 4 Labour-run major public authorities will start pumping out the cash.
Yeah, absolutely extraordinary. I must have also talked about another issue, race. And again, I don't know why it comes up. New Doctor Who. And I mispronounced his name earlier on. Apologies. I don't know any actors at all. I'm rubbish on these things. Ncuti Gatwa. He's replacing Jodie Whittaker, first female Doctor Who. And now everyone's making great play of diversity because he's the first black Doctor Who. But again, why is it relevant? Is he a good actor? Will he be a good Doctor Who? That should be the only thing we discuss. We're told we're sort of, you know, we're trying to move away from these things, but we seem to be obsessed with these things.
No, absolutely. And the actor himself, I mean, he was born in Rwanda and raised in Edinburgh. So he's a Rwandan-born Briton. So I think of him as British. He's from my country. He's one of me.
Can I say, it didn't even occur to me that he wasn't British.
Well, that's the thing. You say that because you are right-thinking and open-minded. However, plenty of people, when they saw that there was a new black Doctor Who, rushed to Twitter to say, I bet Priti Patel is so disgusted by the idea that there's a Rwandan-born Doctor Who. I saw a tweet.
Priti Patel is the daughter of immigrants.
Well, precisely. And this idea that if someone is born overseas and then comes to Britain and becomes British, if they have a foreign background and they're not quite British, they are, again,
I don't know how people. I just don't know how people have the time to worry about these things. I mean, to be fair, I've not watched it since I was 10 years old, so I don't really care. But I don't understand why this stuff has to just be constantly mentioned.
Well, they haven't ticked every box just yet, so we'll look forward to the trans Doctor Who next time around, right?
That's probably the case, isn't it? Who knows? Might be already. We don't know. You're not allowed to question these things. Personal pronouns. Charlie Peters, writer and broadcaster. Thank you very much.